Hey guys, it's Taraz from V.I.L Landscaping. I'm gonna give you a quick update on what we're doing on our project here. So since last time we left off, we managed to lay the whole interlock patio. Now the only part that's missing here is just the cuts on the edges where we're gonna put in a border. The border is a slightly different thickness, so we have to adjust the grade for that. We have most of the boulevard laid in. We couldn't finish this section here today because, as you can see, it's raining. So the rain kind of makes the base not able to be used for interlock. We want to let the rain dry out, put new base on top, and then put the stones on, because otherwise you're just trapping the water underneath and it's gonna sink us to this detail. Over here we have the guys digging for a weeping tile, a drainage. So as you can see, the low point between the two houses, right down the center, there's usually a weeping tile or other form of drainage. So it's basically a pipe that goes to the lowest point. It catches all the water and brings it out away from the property, away from the interlock, away from anywhere where it can do damage to the house or property. So they're just putting that in now. As you can see, the water is already pooling even without the pipe here because that's the lowest point. We can't do any work on the side of the house because while we have the base in some spots it's muddy and soft. So we can't touch that. We don't want to touch that. We want to let it dry. We have a couple fence posts up, which we were waiting for before we could put in the pipe, because the cement bases, we didn't know exactly where they're gonna go. We had to wait for that, so we're putting in the pipe now. Today we have to work with the weather, right? So we can only do some cuts. We can't really do anything with base prep. Can't touch the wet ground. And yeah, we're rolling with the weather. So right now they're dropping in the weeping tile pipe. It's a perforated pipe. It's basically a plastic pipe with little holes all around it. So when the water hits the pipe, it can go inside the pipe and follow the slope of the pipe. It has a nylon sock around it, so that way the mud doesn't clog up the little holes. So there's a constant water draining. It's sitting on a bed of 3/4 clear gravel, which keeps the mud away from the bottom. Once we drop the pipe in, we cover it from the sides and top with 3/4 clear gravel as well. Keeps the mud as far away from it falling. So they're just dropping in now. We're gonna cut off at the end that length, and we use the connector to connect it to the previous weeping tile we installed earlier. So the interlock that we have on this patio, it's an 80mm stone. It's the blue 80 from Teco Block. So it's 80mm because in the backyard we have 60mm stone, the thinner one, because that's fine for foot traffic. But in the front of your house, you definitely want 80mm, at least 70mm stone, because when vehicles go on it, you want that thicker stone. The stability prevents sinking. This we laid in pretty quick. The bulk of this was laid within a day. Within 1 day, we follow a pattern. If you really look into it, you can see the matching. Like this pattern, two flipped stones. We see the same thing happen, 2 flipped stones. Over there, same, and it goes on a diagonal pattern. By using a pattern, pretty much, it's a little bit longer to start the pattern because you have to keep checking the reference, check the reference, lay a stone. Once you get going, after 10-15 stones, it just goes in automatically like clock. Here we're gonna have a border. It's gonna be a sailor course of the same stone. Sailor course meaning the stones go like this instead of like this. We're gonna cut in a curve into the stone here. Once we cut in the curve, we're gonna lay the stones and cut each individual one to make it match the pattern perfectly so it flows. So see, here we have a conduit for an electrical wire. So sometimes customers, they have future plans for what they want to do with their property. So here the customer wanted to put in a light post. So he gave us a heads up ahead of time that he wanted a conduit in here. So before we put in the base, we ran the conduit for him, which is just a plastic pipe, before we put on the stone and everything. So when that's in, now you can run a wire underneath our stone without taking up any interlock. It's just an option that's available to him now. We've put in a couple more on the sidewalk and on the side of the house just for future use, in case that way you don't have to take up your interlock to do any electrical work. We have an armor stone left over. If you remember from before, we were building an armor stone wall in the backyard. So we had one left over as an extra piece, just to me. So the customer asked us, and this happens a lot in projects, because it takes us a lot more energy to get it off the property or dispose of it in general. We came up with an idea with the customer to place it here as an address wall. So we're gonna place it right in front of the interlock and maybe drill the number of plates onto the stone itself. It's a nice little touch. Let's use the material that you already have in place, and yeah, it saves us both us from having to dispose of it, and it gives the customer something extra for more or less free. Alright guys, so I have to run out now. I have to pick up some more gravel and HPB for use tomorrow. Might as well make use of the rain day, right, to get some deliveries done. It's not going to be too much progress today because of the rain, but at least we have some work getting done, so making use of the weather. So thanks for tuning in guys, see you next time.
you.